Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Ashes of Creations video. Today we will be discussing lore, and specifically the lore reveals that were given during the Intrepid Studios Extra Life stream during their Pathfinder game. For those of you who don't know, they incorporated real lore from Ashes of Creations into the Pathfinder game, specifically surrounding the Tower of Carphin, which will be playable in Alpha 2. Now, I was excited for this because one of the biggest critiques I hear about Ashes of Creation is that it's going to fail because there's no established lore. It doesn't have years of lore building up to it like other MMOs such as World of Warcraft. Not that that's really a requirement for a good game, otherwise 90% of games would have failed. Now, what does matter is how you tell your story and how much nuance you can put into it. I can enjoy World of Warcraft, but I can only hear about something getting corrupted so many times before it just gets old. You can get corrupted by the Void, you get corrupted by demons, you get corrupted by death. No one has any actual motives to do anything. It's very one-dimensional. You're either a good guy or you're a bad guy because a bigger bad guy told you to do it because they're evil. It's just... Let's hope Ashes of Creation can do better. Now, before we get started, Steven did not explicitly state which bits of the story were lore reveals and which bits were not, other than a certain section. There is a fair amount of lore put into the story, but some of it may have been included specifically for the purposes of the Pathfinder game and doesn't actually exist in the lore at all. That being said, even if something doesn't actually exist in the actual lore, it does give us a hint as to what we can expect from their storytelling and from their story in general. So I'm not going to take the time to expand on everything in the story because the video would just become way too long too quickly. Instead, I'll be following this video up with more lore videos that dig into specific subjects. Now, to ensure that the story is coherent, we need to establish the setting just a little bit. The Ashes of Creation's world is called Vera, and the MMO will take place after an apocalyptic event called the Fall that wiped out the previous empires. Now, our Pathfinder story takes place in the midst of the Fall, about 2 weeks before the last Divine Gateway closed. Now, the party are all members of an organization called the Light Pact. They're currently in the capital of Ayla, of the Aylan Empire. This once sprawling empire has fallen into ruin only a few months after the arrival of the Harbingers, which marked the beginning of the Fall. Refugees from the destruction flock to the city in droves, seeking any protection they can find from the chaos outside the walls. The party arrives to the city in the midst of the refugees and hears many rumors of the monstrosities assaulting the world. They're described in many ways. Some are insect in appearance, some are alien, some can fly, some even take the form of war machines, and they also hear of a host of demonic creatures. Now, the party received a summon, and they are to attend a meeting at a temple in the city, which is where our story begins. They arrive at the temple and are taken through a magical doorway to meet Duke Fernau Elamar and Duchess Karina Elamar. In the middle of the meeting room is a large round table with 20 seats, only about half of which are full. So I don't know if this council that they're meeting is going to actually exist in any form in-game. Obviously this is way in the past, but I don't know if it's going to hold any significance. They are told that 2 nights past, a loud thunder rolled across the night sky, seemingly coming from the direction of the city of Carphin. The party is charged with traveling to Carphin, investigating what happened, and returning with the Dean of the University of Carphin, who is widely considered to be the most powerful mage of the Aylan Empire, Loria Lamont. Due to all the situations above ground, it is decided that the party will travel via the Underrealm, which has maintained a modicum of safety. The meeting, however, is interrupted when 2 assassins, disguised as servants, stab the Duke and Duchess through the chest. Thankfully, the party was able to fend off the assassins and resurrect the Duke and Duchess. Unnervingly, with their last breaths, the assassin breathed, "See you again soon." Now, I'm unsure exactly what this means. Are these assassins being controlled by another entity from far away? Do these assassins have the means to revive themselves? Can they inhabit other bodies? I'm not really sure what the "see you again soon" is about. But I do know that the idea of immortal assassins is not a pleasant one. I don't know if we'll be seeing them in-game. Now, after recovering from their skirmish with the assassins, the party prepares to begin their journey. The Duke approaches the party and stresses to them that it is imperative that the party returns within 1 week's time, and that whatever they cost, they must not fail. The party has 3 viable paths to begin their journey. One path leads to a large bridge, probably with a troll underneath. The second leads to the Citadel of the Steel Bloom, a keep built by the Tri-Lakes of the northern Aelan Riverlands. The Order of the Steel Bloom is charged with the personal protection of the Queen. Sounds like a place I want to go to, honestly. Unfortunately, the third path led directly to the Underrealm, which is what our party chose. Which is boring. As the party nears the entrance to the Underrealm, they stop to rest and fall into an uneasy sleep to the sounds of screams throughout the realms and fires that glow across the horizon. The party wakes at dawn, however the world remains dark, the light of the sun masked by the dust kicked up by the arrival of the Harbingers. As the party enters the Underrealm, they notice the inside is aglow with bioluminescent plants, lighting their path forward. As if to urge them onwards, the party is alarmed by the sound of flapping. 2 creatures made up of what looks to be bulbous tumors with numerous arms, no legs, and a 3-eyed face hurtles towards them. The creatures let out a scream at the party, hoping to disorient their prey. The party, not seeking the delay that would come with fighting these creatures, attempts to escape towards the cave. As they enter, they come face to face with a family of refugees who are resting just inside the cave, waiting until daybreak to finish their journey to the capital city. Unable to leave the family to their fate, the party turns to face the creatures. The battle was long and hard fought, but the party emerges victorious. It was revealed that these creatures were a lower caste of ancients, tasked with causing chaos and destruction. With the refugees safe and precious time gone, the party turns to continue their journey. As the party arrives to the outskirts of the city of Carphin, they emerge from the Underrealm. They find themselves almost entirely surrounded in holy flames. These flames look to have erupted from the nearby riverbed and encompasses the entirety of the northern rivers. Ahead, the party can see the road that leads to the southern entrance of the city. They see large plumes of red smoke emanating from a tower in the distance, a corrupt layer of mist flowing into the rivers, powering the flames. A number of creatures are standing in formation along the riverbed, held back by the flames. The city lies in partial ruins, and the party can see a mob of dark figures shambling in the mist. As they begin their approach to the city, these figures take notice and rush the party. Seeing no other options, the party decides to attack head-on. As they get closer, the party gets a clearer view of the enemies, rotting and skeletal humanoids with ancient runes etched onto them, their eyes ablaze with crimson fire. As the figures get closer, it becomes obvious that these were former professors of the tower, due to their clothes and the medallion that they wore depicting the symbol of the Aelan Empire. The battle ensues, and shows no sign of progress until the party notices a lich controlling the undead creatures. So they fell the lich, and after searching his robes, discover that he is the right-hand man of Lamont, and discover that they were tasked with finding a way to buy as much time as they could for the capital city. As they became more desperate, Lamont started to listen to advice given from an unknown source, pushing her to turn to blood sacrifices as the last moments of time escaped them. The party, unsure of exactly they were running into, heads towards the foreboding tower in the distance. Fortunately, the party's journey and entrance into the tower were uneventful. And this is the part where Stephen explicitly stated he was revealing lore, meaning what he describes here is almost exactly what we can expect from the Tower of Carphin in Alpha 2. When we get a chance to enter it, this is exactly how it's going to be described. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, they had to skip a few encounters, so I'm not sure what all he left out. Let's begin. The first floor of the tower is what is known as the Arcanum, a large library with a grand hall running throughout. This space was devoted to research and magical exhibits. Stone bookcases, pedestals, and benches dot the ground. The party notices varying sizes of statues housed in alcoves. Blood pools along the floor, emanating from the floors above and trickling down the walls. As the party continues towards the spiral staircase that will take them to the second floor, they are assaulted by animated statues. After the battle, they continue on to the second floor, the Administrata. This floor has various private offices where wizards and professors would work and study in peace. A large lounge area is on the floor where they would have meetings and take breaks. A magical archive is stored here along with paperwork containing information on various topics and studies. The party advances towards the arcane elevator and along the way are assaulted by all manner of flying books and mimics. In the elevator, on their way to the top of the tower, they notice that the third floor is a collection of viewing galleries, remarkably well preserved, showing older construct models and magical theories reminiscent of a museum. The fourth floor is a hall reserved only for the most private of wizards, used as labs and construct factories, built to be private. The winding halls lead to an open experiment room where mages would tinker with ways to improve constructs through more unethical means. Some of these constructs are active and unattended, but the party manages to sneak around these and reach the Nexus Gate. Normally this gate is reserved for teleportation. This Nexus Gate looks to have been turned into a large summoning and sacrifice room as the mages turned to more desperate means as the world collapsed around them. Compromising their ethics and their conscience, mages performed forms of magic none should ever see. Long forbidden and long forgotten magics. As it turned out, the unknown voice that was aiding Lamont was an ancient, one familiar with this world, one who treated with King Atrax. This ancient was the one beyond the void, giving Lamont the information she needed to complete the ritual, unknowingly having ulterior motives. It seems that the ritual used by Lamont resulted in these mass killings, causing corruption to grip her and flowing down from the tower, turning the residents of Carphin into the undead. It did, however, create the fire that is stopping the ancients from crossing the river for now. The fifth floor appears to be channeling a large amount of essence from the sacrifice room. This acts as both a container and a map to focus the summoning rituals on the floor below. As the party continues their climb, they hear large, deep footsteps coming from the floor above. The roof of the tower, known as the Eye of Ayla, acted as a conduit to amplify spell effects across the land. According to one of the letters removed from the Lich, this is where the sacrificial altar, from which the most powerful blood magic that has ever been seen on the face of Era, was accomplished just a few days prior. As the party arrives on the roof of the tower, they see the red mist flowing out from the top of it. At the center, an altar with a crying woman dressed in robes, her eyes filled with blood as they flow from her like tears. Standing next to her is an 11-foot tall ancient. The creature says, "I assume you've come for Lamont. You're too late." Her ambition clouded her judgment, as is often the case for you weak races. "I see not what the gods saw in you, but I know this world will be ours, and your time has come to an end. You will not leave this tower alive, and in your final moments I will relish every ounce of agony that I inflict upon you, and when you call out for your gods, only I will be there to give you the sweet release you shall so desire." Seeing that words would get them nowhere, the party attacks. A hard-fought battle ensues, but the party manages to fell the ancient. The party attempts to rescue Lamont from the altar, but are unable to reach her. The only thing that can pass through is the red mist itself. Unsure of what to do next and running out of time, the party returns to the capital to report their findings. The legions of the ancients manage to cross the river using an apparatus and are approaching the capital city. Upon arriving in the city center, the party notices mages spinning boulders in a ring formation, and a portal starts to spawn, with droves of civilians crossing the threshold and disappearing. The party finds the Duke and Duchess and reports their findings. Upon hearing the news, say, "'Tis a shame. Lamont may be the sole reason we were able to escape this day." The Aelins flee over the course of the next several hours as the ancients begin their assault on the city. Siege engines begin to attack the walls, monstrosities burrow into the city from underground. As the party crosses the portal, they look back and notice the city burning and make an agreement that never again shall the Light Pact fail in their duties, and one day their people will return. And there you have it, the setting for the Tower of Carphin. I don't know about you all, but after all that, I'm even more hyped to get into Alpha 2 than I was, and to start exploring Vera. It sounds wonderful. The Tower of Carphin questline aside, there was so much left unsaid here during this campaign. We still need to discuss the Ancients. We need to discuss the Light Pact and who they are, who their gods are, what the divine gates are that all the aliens fled through. And in time, we will. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe so that you don't miss the lore video series I'm going to start working on. Leave a comment letting me know if there's a particular subject you want to hear next. With all that being said, I'll see you next time.